Hello everyone and welcome back. I finally found a Polly Pocket to restore, so I'm very excited to show you the result. What you're seeing now on screen is a vintage Polly Pocket Unicorn Meadow. It was released in 1995 by Mattel Toys and Bluebird Toys, and it's a compact style, oval shape and color purple. Now this is the reason why I chose this one to be our first Polly Pocket restoration, and it's because it's no longer purple, is it? It has definitely yellowed in time. This is quite common with Polly Pockets. So I thought I would show you my technique based on the Polly restorations to fix this beautiful compact. And since the one I bought came without any figure, but the original had Pony and a unicorn, tiny unicorn, we are also going to recreate both of these figures. Well, actually we're going to repair one and we're going to modify another one to create the unicorn because it's quite difficult to find. I think this will be a slightly shorter video because there isn't as much to do, but I still hope you enjoy it. So let's get started. Alright, our first step will be to use some hydrogen peroxide to remove this yellowing of the plastic. Like I said, this is quite common in toys. Apparently, from what I understood, it was the bromide used in the plastic, which is like a fire retardant, but there are some other theories around, so I have to research that again to see what is actually the cause of this. But I can tell you that it usually has to do with exposure to sun and heat, and the result is this yellowing you can see, because this compact is supposed to be purple. And there is one way to revert this damage, and that's by using hydrogen peroxide, which is also bleaching cream, the one you can find in salons. Now, I'm not going to lie, this is the first time I used the cream on this type of plastic, so if I'm showing you this video it's because it worked. But if you want to replicate it, all you have to do is apply the cream to the areas you want to de-yellow, so to say. And because I'm recording this after the process, I can tell you that it doesn't actually create streaking. And once it's all smeared, then you can take it to the UV chamber. I made a little video with my phone. This is my homemade UV chamber. I love the color. And after about 48 hours, this is what it looked like. As you can see, there is still a lot of yellowing on the sides, but it's definitely more lilac than it used to be. Now, very important, if you're going to use hydrogen peroxide, always use gloves because it can burn your skin. And here I'm applying another layer. I did this about 5 times, I think, to get to the final result, which I will show you in a second. And little preview, you can already see the difference. And oh my god, look at that. Remember, this is the before and the after. I wasn't expecting this to be so good. It looks better in person. The lights on my camera were in a different position, so it's slightly different. But now there is just one thing to do, and it's painting these letters in silver. I'm gonna use this liquid chrome mirror effect that I bought a while ago and I haven't tried yet, but it looks amazing. Just a quick test. It works. And now let's do the letters. By the way, the compact needs a good clean because I can still see some peroxide there. But let's concentrate on this beautiful silver effect. This is such a gorgeous pen. I will try to find the link and add it in the description. I saw this in a video. I can't remember whose video it was, but I think it was like a mini painting video, Warhammer mini. And I thought I need to have that. And that was like 2 years ago. And then I finally have the chance to give it a try. So let's give it a little swirl so you can see the effect. I love it! Okay, time for the next step. I found this itty bitty little Polly that came with the same set, just different set but the same set, you know what I mean? And it is so small, I feel like an elephant trying to grab it and paint it. But it was interesting and nice. It's very cute and it reminds me of the Queen actually. And first I was going to make a little hole and put some kind of pin in the arm. Then I realized that this plastic is super hard. So instead what I'm going to do is just scratch the arm so that the green stuff can adhere to it. Green stuff is quite good for this project because it's very plastic, it has a very nice texture and it's very easy to work with if you know what you're doing, which I don't, so it was very difficult for me to work with it. But eventually I was able to sculpt the arm. I let it dry for a day, I think, and then I used some files and nails and my little X-Acto knife to make sure it kind of looked okay. And the result is, it's fine. You will see it in a second. I don't think I have the best tools for this and I'm just not good. I know you I get such nice messages saying, oh, you are so good with the details. It's like the camera is so beneficial for me and it's so nice to me. But yeah, small details are very difficult and my pulse is not very good, and also this poly is tiny. But after a lot of filing and sanding and X-Actoing, this is well, you will see soon what it looks like when we start painting in the next section, right now. Now it's time to paint. The first thing I wanted to do is paint a base that was similar to the skin color. First I used this lighter tone because I wanted to get rid of the green. And don't worry, I know it looks shocking, like it doesn't match at all, but it is just the first step of many steps. So like I said, first a lighter color, and then I decided to mix a little bit of this darker skin tone to try to match the original poly. I also added a little bit of pink to make it warmer. So here we go with the second layer. And of course everything I did from here on was out of focus, so this is the result of the arm. And while we wait for that to dry, we're going to work on the hair. I'm going to use this yellow, which is slightly darker, but I feel like maybe the figure lost some of its original color. I might be making this up to justify my color choice. Yeah, the more I see it, the more I think that this is not the right choice for the polys. Although this is like almost a custom poly because I am fixing it, so maybe that's why it's a different shade. So in the future, the next generations don't confuse it for an original impeccable poly. Let's do a little close-up. I'm leaving a lot of this footage because I find it quite satisfying to watch as I'm recording this. I hope you do too. And since we have some time to kill, I'm going to read you the description for this minifigure. I call them minifigs. I don't think they're called that in the in the Polly Pocket world. But the description for this doll was: Polly, blonde straight hair pulled back in ponytail, large gold crown, long hair, purple dress, long sleeves, gold shoes, arms held out to side, left hand higher. I did do the left hand a little higher, don't know as much as the originals I'm saying now. So next step is the crown, and we're going to paint it gold bronze. I'm going to mix my two colors to create something a bit lighter than bronze and a bit fancier than gold. Wow. I think I might enjoy this more than the yellow part actually. I thought I loved pastels because of My Little Pony. I do love pastels like the lilac of the case, but gold and silver. It's a discovery this week. Okay, back to the video. It's time to paint the dress, and this will be the biggest change, I think. Now, you have probably seen me, if you have been watching my other videos, use this purple paint a lot. I actually bought it for a different project, for Critical Role and Molly Mock figure that I will do someday. But since then I have been using it for so many things. Always like it is, like without mixing it with anything. It's fantastic. It's one of my favorite. I mean, today is all about colors. But honestly, painting this dress was great, and watching it now is double great. I mean, I don't want to sound arrogant. It's just the transformation of something slightly damaged into something that can look much nicer. Like, it's such a difference, just with some little spots and little fixes. Okay, the back of the arm is not as good as the front. It's terrible. But this part is also a little satisfying. Oh, okay. It's now time to fix the face. I did this so many times. I'm just going to show you the final one, I think, because it took me ages. So I went through my paints. I was pretty sure I had a bunch of browns, but I don't. So instead, I'm going to use one of my acrylic pens, just not as a pen, only to take the paint from it. And let's start with the eyes. Apologies, Polly Pocket lovers. Yeah, I will show you this part very quickly. And it's so small, this things are so small. If you have any suggestions on how to paint really tiny things, please let me know. Any help is appreciated. So yeah, I should have stopped before I ended up with this, but let's commit to it and add some glossy varnish. My goal here is to make the figure look a little more like the original, and instead of the matte acrylic effect. I also just realized I forgot to do the shoes. I'll do that off camera. Next candidate. Okay, our next and last step is to customize this little horsey that I got for just £1 on eBay. And to do this, we're going to actually do two things. First, I'm going to sculpt some different elements that go in the original unicorn using milliput, epoxy putty. And secondly, I'm going to paint. So let's do the horn, not the unicorn like I said before, but the horn of the unicorn first. Luckily, milliput sticks really well to this plastic, so you won't need to do much. Just one thing to remember though is when you do any of these fine, well, very thin elements, is that it will keep some flexibility. So it's not going to be as hard as if you did bigger things, because everything here, as we have seen, is tiny. But just in case, I also made sure that the milliput expanded and covered some of the skin to have a bigger surface to adhere to. I don't know why adhere sounds like a weird word, maybe it doesn't exist. Now the next step is to create these little, I think they are leather strips that hold the mount in place. Mistake coming, and there you go, I ruined the unicorn, the horn. But it's still fresh, so we can fix it. I'm not used to creating mounts because, as you might know, in My Little Pony there are no mounts, the horses are free. But because we are trying to kind of create something that is similar to the original unicorn from Unicorn Meadow, we are going to create a little mount using something that might surprise you. But for the moment, let's just finish this milliput part and then let it dry for 24 hours or so, and it's ready to paint. So once it's dry, the first thing we need to do is to apply a base coat all in white, so when I do the colors afterwards they will be a little more even. And as usual for our other projects, we're going to do at least 3 very thin layers. We want them to be thin so you don't get like an accumulation of paint, although to be honest the sculpt in here is not very clean. But this is what it looks like with the first layer. Oh, actually I meant 3 layers when we're only going to have the white, or 3 layers for each final color. So for this blue, for example, which is another shade that I tend to use a lot. I think the original is a bit lighter, but again, all of our new custom mini Polly Pockets are darker. Please keep in mind that this is the first time I do a Polly Pocket restoration. The case was the main object I wanted to deal with. The rest are kind of little additions, and we are learning. Now for the final detail, slightly creepy if you ask me, purple eye. And the final step is the mount. Now, I got this varnish that I use for cleaning the ponies, or cleaning any toys actually, it's really good, and it has bubbles. And it's empty because I have used all of it. I feel like this is some kind of milestone because I only use this for the restorations. And we use the whole what is this, container. So instead of making the mount in milliput or something like that, which would be quite difficult to get a very flat surface, I'm going to use this piece of plastic. And I'm just going to glue it with some Gorilla Glue, which is very good for plastics in general. And then I'm just going to cut another little square and add it on top because I don't like the transparency of this fuchsia lid. Last little detail, we will just add some pearlized paint to the horn. And with that, we conclude our super zoomed in, very oh God, embarrassing work on the horsey. And we are ready to see the results. So here's the case before, and here's the case after. So in terms of the yellowing, it's a big improvement. I think it could have been in the chamber for a little longer to get rid of some of the other marks, although this is the first time we're doing a Polly Pocket, so I didn't want to risk it. So it's a good start, I would say. And now let's look at the minifigs, the dolls. Here's the Polly and the horsey. Polly especially, I think, needed some TLC. And here is our very humble after for the Polly and for the horse. Unicorn now. And jeez, the zoom is killing me. They look better in person from a certain distance, like a meter and a half. But let's end this video playing a little bit. I never had a Polly Pocket, so it was nice to see what it felt like. The articulation in the Polly is very complicated, and I dropped this so many times. I guess maybe they are designed for little hands from little children. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. As I said, first experience with this toy. We have a lot to learn, a lot to practice, but I'm excited about the future videos with Polly Pockets. Please let me know what you thought, if you think I should just abandon this idea and go back to the ponies. In any case, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Hope you have a great week. Bye bye.